still the situation is still the same. So how do you think the United States will take an action further?
Well, first, let me just say President Obama has been very clear, as he was at the United Nations just 2-3 days ago, that we condemn the violence of the Assad regime on its people and have focused our efforts through all channels, diplomatic support and humanitarian engagement, to support the people of Syria. And in that regard, the United States has provided more than $130 million of humanitarian support. That support, we believe, is reaching more than 950,000 Syrians inside of Syria, often with food and water for displaced communities, with medical and trauma support for communities that require that assistance. And we've been proud to, in addition, support neighboring countries who are taking in significant numbers of Syrian refugees. I had a chance to meet with young children at the Al-Zatri refugee camp in Jordan, probably 5 years old to 11 or 12 years old, and they told me about the conditions in their home communities, and the United States is doing everything we can to help support their ability to go to school, their ability to survive through what is an incredibly challenging time.
Well, Dr. Shah, there's those who still denying the crisis in Syria and the humanitarian needs for the Syrian refugees, and also targeting tragically really the children and women in Syria. How do you view this claim for those who don't yet see the true picture of the situation in Syria?
Well, as President Obama and Secretary Clinton have said very strongly, this is an immediate humanitarian crisis being caused by direct violent actions. The students I met with in the Al-Zatri refugee camp described their schools being attacked, their communities being attacked. Right now we're working to help support the Syrian people receive as much humanitarian assistance as possible. And we're working with Syria's neighbors to make sure that they can effectively take in and provide the kind of support that the hundreds of thousands of refugees need. We applaud the efforts of neighboring countries like Turkey and Jordan in the actions they're taking to keep their borders open and to provide security, safety, food, education to Syrians who are fleeing Syria. And in fact, our support, most recently announced for Jordan, is helping to provide resources so that 18,000 Syrian children in Jordan can go to school in Jordanian schools. And that's the kind of value that American partnerships with countries in that region can have in terms of real human benefit for those who are vulnerable and who are suffering right now.
Well, Dr. Shah, I seen yesterday an interview for you with the CNN, and coming back to the United States, back from Jordan, and meeting with all families and children. And my understanding, the United States been very involved with humanitarian supplies and medical, and you personally, you've been among this team, really leading at this point. And I want to ask you, is really you're dealing with the Jordanian government directly, or organization really at the border here in the United States, or how do you see the Syrian government cooperate inside the Syria? I catch you said
well,
that there is a humanitarian really supplies being submitted inside Syria.
Yeah, well, there are significant humanitarian activities taking place inside Syria, reaching Syrians who are vulnerable. We work through a broad range of partners. We work directly with governments. We work through non-governmental organizations that are able to reach local communities that are vulnerable. We have worked through, in a very significant way, the United Nations, and we applaud the efforts of UNICEF and the World Food Program in really trying to reach vulnerable populations with food rations and medical support and supplies. It's tragic, but both necessary, and we know that families that are displaced from their communities need food, need water, need winterization so that their makeshift housing can survive through what will be an increasingly cold winter. And we're proud to keep investing in those things. In fact, Secretary Clinton, I believe earlier today in New York, announced an additional commitment to help support the winterization of housing units to protect Syrians inside of Syria. So yes, that's aid that's reaching Syrians inside of Syria.
Well, Doctor, talking to activists and refugees just arrived to the United States, and I've heard from them that still there is a lot to do inside Syria.
Yes,
a lot of people,
absolutely.
they need help and they cannot get it, and a lot of cities still surrounded and they cannot get anything. So do you expect the United States again to support after the election more, and do you see the United States will take more steps to put pressure on the maybe Assad regime and individually outside the United Nations? I mean, do you think that might happen?
Well, the United States has used all diplomatic channels, including the United Nations, and individually with partner countries and with the Syrians to try to bring this to an end. The United States has made it clear that we will continue to provide urgent humanitarian relief. There's no question that more can be done. We need more humanitarian access, and we've called for more humanitarian access, as has each of the UN negotiators that has led the engagement. And we're going to just keep doing everything we can to support the people of Syria, inside of Syria, and in neighboring countries. And I should mention that we really do recognize the tremendous human and physical risks the humanitarian workers themselves take, doctors who go into very unsafe environments to provide care to people who have been injured and attacked. And we know that many of those humanitarian workers have lost their lives in the process. So this is a very difficult situation, and we will continue to do everything we can.
Do you think the United States is really having fear from maybe Islamic to lead Syria? That's why you do see not big support from the United States to move forward to step down the regime. I mean, many analysts said that it might be a good reason that the United States is not really putting an effort to lead at this point.
Well, it's not accurate to suggest the United States isn't leading. There's no other country that has done as much to push the United Nations Security Council to work with partners, to work on humanitarian relief and engagement. We're leading the way in those areas, and we need to, and we will continue to. And in particular, let me just add.
With Libya, I mean, we did see the United States really pushed harder. I mean, we don't see that in Syria.
Well, I won't get into the details of the diplomatic differences between those two situations. The President and Secretary have both spoken to that. The reality is, across the Middle East and throughout the Arab Spring, the President has committed us to work to promote peaceful transitions, to promote more democratic space and governance, and to support the economic aspirations of Arab communities throughout the region, so that the region is defined by stability and prosperity. In U.S. aid, it's often not seen as visual a way, but it's U.S. assistance that is providing water to 1.7 million Jordanians in the northern arid part of the country, that is taking in 100,000 Syrian refugees. It's U.S. support in Libya that helped to stand up the Ministry of Finance and provide support to get that government to be running. And I think in Tunisia, we've launched a major effort with a series of information and communications technology companies to create jobs for young people in Tunisia. And in all of these settings, those kinds of efforts and partnerships are helping to create opportunity for youth and helping to meet economic needs. And it's a very long path forward, but I've had the chance in recent months to be in Jordan, to be in Yemen, and to see the impact of these very important American investments in these countries, and it's really extraordinary, and it will continue. because this is a top priority to the president.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.